Welcome to Clixed Off, brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama. Check them out at LuckyDiceCafe.com. And now for your hosts, Daniel Powell, Jason Alvey, and Tylor Speeds.
Hey everybody, welcome to Clixed Off today. This is your host Daniel Powell speaking. Just want to let everyone know that Clixed Off is brought to you by TrollandToad.com, the world's largest Heroclix retailer. Find Heroclix new and old on Troll and Toad and use coupon code CLIXEDOFF for 5% off your Heroclix order. I wish it was 50, but it is just 5. Merchant and pre-order items do not apply. And if you like what you're hearing today, consider throwing us some support on patreon.com/clixedoff. $1 and above get entered into our monthly giveaway, which are coming back in January with a Brick of Empire. And $5 and above gets entered into our Discord server for some exclusive Heroclix content and tips and strategies. And joining me today is Tylor, right there on the bubble spees.
Yep, accurate as normal.
And also joining me today is Alex. Please excuse his voice. We are trying to record and produce content, and he is serviceable today, Cruzz.
Hey, I was only 100 points behind Tylor, so I'm right there.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I was only 100 points behind you. I was surprised by the end. I was like, oh, I did better than expected for 3 and 2.
Well, 17 and beyond, or like whatever, 13 and beyond, like they were all within 100 points of each other. Like,
yeah.
It was really close. And the big superstar of today is Kaleb, unofficial, official Bradcast World Champion Redick.
Hello, everybody.
Well, congratulations, Kaleb.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Congrats. It is definitely a tough field.
Yeah, a long time coming. I feel like you've always been at the top in a lot of tournaments. Don't take this to be offensive, Kaleb, but I've always felt like you've been a little bit under the radar. I don't know. Like I feel like you've won some stuff, but it's like, I always thought of you as like super top tier player, and I'm really happy that you finally you've gone all the way. That sounds weird.
It does, yeah.
Furthest I made top 8, and I went teams to the semifinal or the finals against George.
You guys are in the finals.
And Matt last 2019 in
the
Philly.
last in-person one.
Not Philly. Memphis.
Yeah,
and
Memphis.
We lost in the finals, for the sealed.
Yeah, that's when the kid rolled a crit miss with his Dark Phoenix.
Yep. Yep.
I feel bad I forget his name now. I was off the top of my head.
Dude, I remember. I was there. I watched that game.
I know. Who's
Micah?
Micah.
Yeah, Micah.
Yeah, Micah's been radio silent lately, so
I like Mike. We still message every once in a while.
Yeah. So I think Kaleb, just from my perspective, just going into this is, shit. You're the world champion of 2021. You might as well be, right. WizKids is not gonna say that you ain't, so you might as well be.
And even it's kind of poetic in a way that you beat Isaac in the finals, who was the last in person world champion. So I don't know, it's to add something, I think.
Right, you had justice for Robert, right, Kaleb?
I did. Yes, I did.
Hashtag justice for Robert.
Yep. When I sent you that, I was like, I really hope that I got his name right, because I couldn't remember exactly his name, but I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Robert. I think, from from this year, right? I think from the largest events with the largest amount of players and the prize support and all that other stuff, right? I mean, we had a bunch of smaller tournaments this year, but you definitely, I think, you round out the year, Matt Ventura with the Scott Porter event, Tylor with Clix Cup, and then, yourself with the Bradcast Worlds. So,
you mean Patrick?
Well,
Patrick with you.
So, like, I was trying not to toot our own horn, right? But, I mean, that was 20, 30-person events, right? That wasn't, like, the same deal. But, yeah, I mean, you had Patrick win the Clix Off Classic. And then from, like, a prizing perspective, the event I won in Huntsville, like, I get finals bye to Rock Cup in 22. Like, yeah. I get to go to the final day without having to do anything else. Like, I could just show up Sunday and play.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think if you did a 2021 retrospective, there were 3 major tournaments, I would say, out of the year. I mean, unless we're forgetting one that was in January or February. But I think it is mostly the Scott Porter event, the Clix Cup down in Florida, and then the Bradcast official one.
This one, it's kind of like a culmination, if I feel like, of the meta over the last, really since Clix Cup, right? It was basically the same meta as Clix Cup, and we've been playing it for 6 months and building it for 6 months.
Right.
So it's nice to have it right at the end, where now we've kind of got 2 new sets in rapid succession, and they're probably going to change some of the things in the meta. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's true.
Because everybody's sort of refined the meta, so they brought their best teams. And,
right. Yeah, I mean, this whole year, right? I mean, just we're going to do our year-end show, but you had the Punch Stravaganza that Tylor won earlier this year, and then Brad had another event earlier this year. Then we went to Columbus. Then we went to Moorhead. The West Coast had 2 or 3 events. And, the event in Michigan. Then there's the event in Wisconsin. And, there's been a few smaller events. Normally, right, we wouldn't even be able to name them all off, right? Because there would have been 50 state tournaments and 20 WKOs 4 times in a year. So... definitely more than 2020, but I think we say all that to say, congratulations, Kaleb.
Yeah, congrats, Kaleb.
Thank you.
Yeah. How does it feel? Like, for you? I mean, this is probably your biggest win, I would assume, right?
Yeah, it's the best I've done by far. Like I said, teams, I got close. I got to the finals, but lost. But as far as singles and flying solo, it was top 8. So my goal was get to top 4, and I did that and then some.
Yeah, for sure. Did you go undefeated? I think you did, right?
I did, yeah. I went 9-0.
Dang. Okay. Well, that's pretty impressive.
For me, that is the best way to do it. Like, so
most would agree.
Yeah,
right.
Win the whole thing.
Well, so
that's
like
the best way to do it.
So I'll provide my corollary here, right? There was a Colts football season, right? And y'all know I don't do big on sports, but like the Colts were 15-0, and
I've heard this.
Right, the Colts were 15-0, and this is when Peyton was still the quarterback. The 16th game, Peyton was on the sideline wearing his helmet, ready to play, like showing the fans that like this is bullshit, right? Like this, I want to play, right? Because for me, it's like if you win the Super Bowl, right? That's huge, right? That's ginormous, right? That's so great. But like if you go win the Super Bowl with a 16-0 season, that's like a little cherry. That's like a little pizzazz, a little bit of hoosha, right on top, right?
Yep.
So
definitely impressive. It's only happened once in the NFL.
Right. Yeah. So I don't think the Colts won the Super Bowl that year, but I think going
It's
undefeated.
probably karma.
Yeah, probably right. That's potentially
They killed their momentum there.
So,
But yeah, do we want to talk about how we all did?
yeah. Do we want to? How do we want to do it? Do we want to go worst to best,
We normally
or
do
what do we normally
worst
do?
to best.
Okay.
That'd be me.
So that'd be Alex, right?
Barely.
To keep it short, I played a small variant of the Gladdy Daddy team where I ditched Nathaniel Richards and played. I don't even remember who I played. I added the other Flash, the Flash no one ever plays, and then I dropped the Power Gem and I went 3-2. Could have gone 4-1. The last one of my matches, we were tied until the last action, and he killed a Flash at the last second, which was a sad face. Yeah, super sad. And that was the guy who was playing Speed Weasel. Yeah, wasn't it?
The most interesting teams.
Yeah, I played Alyssa first. She played Starjammers, which was crazy. Which my team was a bad matchup for her because she was playing Starjammers with Emperor Gladiator, giving Emperor Gladiator Starjammers keyword, and then playing Hepzibah with her trait, not the salvage trait, Tyler. Don't worry. The other trait that basically keeps Starjammers alive if they would be KO'd. They go to the last non-stop click or non-KO click and heal half a result of a D6 or something. But when you play Annihilating Conqueror, you take away keywords not on their card, and so Gladiator lost that. It was still a really close match, though. Like, it was really close. I was very surprised.
That's the team-up card, isn't it? Or is it not?
Yes, it's a Corsair team-up card, I believe.
Is she like the first person ever top 8 with a team-up card?
Well, no, she didn't top 8.
No, she didn't make cut.
Oh, she didn't.
Okay,
she won Fellowship. She won
Hey,
Fellowship.
there you go. Starjammer's keyword should get you Fellowship, I think.
And then second match was to Isaac. Isaac built almost specifically in a way to beat Gladiator. He plays Machine Smith. He has Jason Wingard as an option, and so he plays Machine Smith. So that way you can make a robot dupe who basically is a Gladiator.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it's stupid. And so he had Felix Faust and a bunch of other stealthy people, and so he wiped out my whole team except Gladiator, and then Gladiator could never go in and do anything. Like, he just couldn't get in there to shoot. I'm lucky to escape with 65 points in that. Then I played Joe Kovacs. I think that's his name. I think he was the one with... he's the Speed Weasel guy. He played Speed Weasel and Herbert. He played Herbert, Blackheart, Wyndham, and Speed Weasel with Blackheart and 2 Wendigos and Faust.
I like that part.
Yeah, I ignored Herbert the whole game, like you.
Yeah.
I killed Speed Weasel, but like I said, it got tied at the end. Some bad rolls, some keys, super sense rolls. But I rounded all up, not trying to take up too much time. I ended up 3-2. I just didn't score enough points, which there weren't a ton of points scored that day outside of like the top cut, unless you were Kaleb, I guess. Like, there wasn't a lot of games where people were just crazy wiping people out. There were some, but not a ton. So I went 3-2, and I missed out by like 150, 200 points, something like that.
Was the other Flash useful?
So I played the other Flash because he has enhancement, because I took Power Gem off. I didn't want Gladiator to be completely useless. He was useful against Tony Bruno, who was playing Animal. So he was useful in that matchup because I could outwit with him. And he also was another mastermind person and blah, 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 blah. But I don't know. I think having too many options on items actually hurt me more than helped me, because I kept debating, do I want Carnage Symbiote this time or do I want Reality Gem this time? And it was, and that might have been solved with more practice, but yeah, I also put Valeria on the team, and I didn't get to play her. I didn't play against a switch out team except Isaac, and he didn't switch out enough to make it worth it.
Sure.
So If I played Kaleb, yeah, I would absolutely play Valeria just
What
to
does
see
she
what would
do
happen.
on swap out? It gives them like a token or
Yeah, so Valeria has the map wide. If they weren't on your starting force, if they make an attack and miss, they get another action token. And then she has her shape changing thing, Perplex. She's decent, but with all these switch teams, she's even better in my opinion.
It's kind of fun.
But I didn't get to play her, so oh well.
Is that
was
Valeria the Doom Chase or?
Yes.
Yeah, the Doom swap out.
Yeah, the swap out one no one ever likes. The one you pull on a booster, you're like, ah. I really wanted to see her work because with everyone switching in and out, and it's just going to get better with Empire, with Avengers and whatnot. I just see her being throw her out there, and you got to double token a lot of things if you miss an attack. So if I can make you miss an attack, cool. Then you get 2 tokens, one for the action and one from Valeria. That feels good to me. So anyway, Tylor, what about you?
Yeah, I played my animal team, tried and true. Went 3-2 on the day. Like Dan alluded, I got I got 13th when the top 12 qualified, so I missed it by 1. So it's the first time I missed cut in a long time. I'm sad about it. But yeah, I play my animals. I still think the animal team is good, even after the tournament. I think I just probably didn't practice enough, to be honest. But yeah. So
wait a minute. I think I specifically said, "Hey, you did," and you were like, "Oh, it's animals. I'll be fine." Okay.
I agree.
Let me play TFT instead.
To be honest with you, yeah, I've kind of been playing a lot of a TFT recently, and that may have cut into it a little bit. But yeah, so I went 3-2. First round, I played against Joe Alves. I beat him. My opening was pretty good. He missed a lot in the game as well. I killed his Jason on the opener and a flash, I think. And then he just sort of missed his second turn, which was fine by me. That's why I have 10 probs on the team. In the second round, I lost against it's Jackson. I don't remember his last name.
Smith, I think it's Jack Smith.
Okay.
Smith.
Yes. Okay. Yep. So he was playing deity keyword with the Wonder Womans and the Blackheart. I think PJ played in Ohio. I kind of just, again, I probably should have practiced. I just kind of forgot what the threats on that team were, and I left Giganta alive. I always feel like Giganta, it's a 10 attack retail. It's going to be -1. I'm going to have all these probs. It's totally fine. And then I forget that he gives my whole team -2 defense with the Wonder Woman. So I just always I could have just focused her. I could have killed her first turn, but I just didn't. One fun thing he did that game was he sidestepped his Scarab adjacent to my chip, and he copied my emotional modifier to lower my defense. I didn't know that Scarab could copy enemy equipment until that moment, and it was very shocking. Yeah. Yeah, and then I don't want to talk about the whole thing, but against Isaac in the last round, so we were both 3-2 going in, and it was kind of the cut. I did the dumbest play I think I have ever done. I don't know if that's true, but so he's playing like a swap out non-theme team. He against me, he has what's his name, Harry Leland, to stop the alpha, because people think that Harry Leland will stop the animal or the maggot team because I can't place them close enough to poison. And so I did. It's like, not really a trick, but it's just something that we came up with in testing. And did against Dan first. But so he has his Harry Leland. I move everything up. I do everything. I generate 3 of the exploit pogs right in a row, and then they all charge him, and they're charging him with 8 attack and 0 damage. So most people don't care. They think it's nothing. The first thing it does is tie them up. Obviously, just tie up their team. But the second thing is I attack 3 times and get 3 misses pretty much guaranteed. I had like 7 probs to make sure I missed 3 times in a row. And then I called out my falcon with the 3 misses right next to his team, just a falcon and a black falcon, and his whole team was next to his his dark phoenix. So all I had to do was energy exploding the dark phoenix to hit his whole team, kill the dark phoenix, just completely mess him up. It was literally going to hit every one of his pieces. They were all next to her. And then I realized right as I called him out, I had no actions left. I miscounted my actions. I moved up a Grodd that I didn't have to. So I called him out. He sat there, and then I just got annihilated. So, yeah, it was the dumbest thing I think I've ever done. Just miscounted my actions, and I lost. And obviously, I only missed the cut by, I don't even remember, a few, like 30 points, 80 points, something, not less than 100. So if I hit that energy explosion, I just would have at least made the cut, if not just won the game. So
that was against Isaac.
Isaac, yes, that is his official name.
So yeah, you would have like knocked him out of the cut probably.
Possibly, yeah. I'm not sure. He might have still gotten points, but my energy explosion literally would have hit his whole team. Now, granted, some of them were higher defenses, but I had 7 probs on it. So. Right.
Oofed.
Yeah.
Also, if you made top 16, then I would have played you the first game of the cut.
Yeah. And then, a what
Probably
if?
Would not have been a good day for me.
I don't know. You have higher themes, so you probably win map. My team does not like winning map or losing map. Right, you're plus 10.
Plus 10, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And you won map a majority of the day, Tylor, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I lost map once to
Tony.
Oh, to the mirror match.
Yeah, the mirror match.
And he just brought me to the same map. So.
Now, did you win the mirror match?
I did win the mirror match. I think it. I'm guessing I'm more familiar with the team, so I've played similar matchups. I just basically tried to hide the important people, which are my attackers, because I know he's coming against me. So I would just try to protect my maggots and my spider ham as much as possible. He came across and killed Ultra Humanites. He killed Chip, a couple Grodds, I think, but I still have my attackers to follow up.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm. Anything else to mention of that?
No, that's about it. I still like animals. I still think it's a good team. But yeah, just practice makes perfect.
So I played Bat Doom, and I made one small change. I dropped Ancient Hold and added Iron Man Workshop. And that came into play the first round, even though I lost the first round. The average of, and I want to be careful here, Tylor. I'm not saying that roll 20. I'm not saying that roll 20 messed me over. I want to be clear, right? Mm-hmm. I just want to be clear. So I did make some
bot coming.
No, I'm telling you, I'm really trying to not say. I'm a believer that after the past few weeks that I have seen enough rolls the past few weeks that it's relatively average. It's whatever, right? Just it's at this point it's like fuck it. I've got to use it, so I might as well stop complaining about it. So I had an alpha against Ray Williams, and if I don't roll a 1 or 2 on hyper time, I get to KO potentially, right? The idea is potentially I KO his Oz, and I get to KO his Sky Tyrant. But I roll the 1 on hyper time, and so that tilts me, and then I forget to use my 2 outwits on his team, and his Doom 67 comes over and kills my Sky Tyrant turn 2. But the Iron Man Workshop worked out. I won map. I was able to full map reach him, as to where I can't do that with Oz on Glengrove Cemetery. But if I had the 2 outwits, I would have been able to outwit Barrier and outwit Charge. Of course, hindsight being 2020, I get to outwit those 2 things, and he doesn't get to charge me or TK against me. or block up his team against me.
Man, Hyper Time is one of those annoying things in the game. I
Yeah.
hate that team ability so much. Every time I fail it, every time I roll.
Yeah. So I went down, and then I won map against Erwin from Singapore, and then I won map there, and it was not a good day for Erwin. I applied the Alchemical Fire to his Chase A, knocked it to stop click twice, and KO'd it the next turn. I got to bring out a Grodd that KO'd his Maggot. He Krakoan'd it, and I got to make a skinless ass. And I KO'd it again, and he was like, no, I've just got to let it die.
Yep.
And
so just get double points for essentially.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I was like, I'm so sorry this turn is taking so long, but you just gave me a skinless ass. Like, if you give me another one, I'm going to flurry you again.
Yeah, it could definitely be snowballing.
Right. So
not just flurry, but flurry blades.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was not that great. Because I think I was on like one miss, maybe two misses. So like if the skinless assassin missed the second one, I also bring out a Vulcan in his starting area. And then I still had I had one costed action left because it was a Batman, a TK, a Sky Tyrant, and then Grodd was my fourth action. But anyway, so that was interesting. I go up in the tables or in the seating, and I played Joe Gutierrez, which is a round that I should have lost. So in rounds 3 and 4, I crit miss for map both times. So I lose map to an unthemed team. Joe takes me to the negative zone, and I don't know exactly what Joe was thinking, but we both had Molecule Man, and so he goes, I go. He has to take the time. He has to take the opportunity to move up and remove my barrier. And we may have even went one more turn of playing chicken with our barrier. And I think we went one more turn because I cleared, and then I was like, okay, Joe's going to have to TK out his Molecule Man or move him out and remove my barrier. And Joe didn't do it. Now, I had to roll a 2 to get a spot for Tyrant to go into. Molecule Man wasn't going to let me down, boys. I moved up Molecule Man. I was like, all right, roll to convert. Fucker rolled a 6.
Dang.
He was playing.
He must have been desperate.
Molecule Man was desperate. He was like, I'm not going to let you lose. I also moved in, and this is why I think the dice are average, Tyler. I moved in and was going to quake his Mr. Oz. I hyper timed right on in. Just bought a boost right on in. And the Sky Tyrant opener was devastating, as it always is. But I think Joe should have went that turn.
Sure.
And he just didn't go.
Because he definitely should have the reach. He's got.
Oh, he definitely he had the reach. It was just what happened. So I was like, if Joe moves up and his Molecule Man rolls a 1, it's game over. But if I move up my Molecule Man and roll a 1, it's over.
Right. Yeah.
Because of the positioning, I had to TK up Sky Tyrant before I moved up Molecule Man to make the roll. And
that makes it way worse.
Right. And it just is what it is, right? And so I think that one was just a little bit of luck on my end. Round 4, I played Ed's Robots, And Doom the Annihilating Conqueror takes away the robot keyword from the robot soups, which makes the Bastion matchup a lot easier. So
Yes, it definitely is. It definitely does.
Yeah, he only scored 35 points, and I'm trying to think of what he KO'd. He KO'd a Flash. He KO'd Flash and Waller. A Flash and a Waller. And then round 5 and top 16, I lost both times to Adam Maciejewski. I lost map, and I got Jubileed. So, to Tyler's point, do I think Bat Doom is still viable?
I never asked that.
No. You mentioned it about animals. Sorry.
Yeah.
To corollary what you were saying about animals, do I think Bat Doom's still viable? The problem that I've run into is the most consistent team I've lost to has been Jubilee.
Does she shoot through Henry?
No. So Sky Tyrant doesn't have.
She just goes Sky Tyrant.
Sky Tyrant doesn't have stealth, right? So. I even made adjustments into top 16. I put the Waldo arms on Doom 67 for the first time, and then Doom 67 just moved up and missed. But it didn't matter because I already triggered a Dark Phoenix retail.
Sure.
Because I needed Dark Phoenix to roll a 6. She hit, missed. And because I needed his Dark Phoenix to KO the other Dark Phoenix, and then move her away, and then I can KO her with a Flash or Doom 67. So both Dark Phoenixes are out of play. I can withstand another Jubilee hit. I can't take a Jubilee hit and a Dark Phoenix hit.
No. Yeah.
So I go up to try to KO his Jubilee. It turns out I was tilted in top 16. It happens. It turns out I hit Jubilee instead of missing her, but He retailed my team with a 14 attack or 13 attack Dark Phoenix, and there was nothing left of my team to really matter at that point, right? There was still Mimic that came over and just charged flurried me afterwards.
Sure.
And
Dark Phoenix has fallen off a little bit, but it is still devastating to your team if a Dark Phoenix retails you.
Well, so I think the swap makes her so much better. And maybe Cable will talk about this a little bit, because if you lose map, it's bad. Dark Phoenix is bad, most likely.
Yeah.
But if you win map and you can keep her in FTI, and it's all gravy. Because then they can body block and position her and do some other things, especially if they kill your Sky Tyrant immediately. Just fucking wreck him.
I feel like, Dan, your team is the hard counter to Dark Phoenix. So, it's mostly like, oh, well, you got to watch out for Sky Tyrants and Batman if you're playing playing Dark Phoenix. Not saying oh, how did you lose? It was more of
right.
Dark Phoenix fell off. I debated playing Dark Phoenix at the Clixed Off event with Gladdy Daddy and all of that stuff, and because of Cosmic, and everyone was like, no, don't do it. And I think Jay Major ended up playing it, but it was because Batman's there. Batman could just be like, you know what? I'm just going to shoot her or mind control her to kill all your pieces.
Right. Well, so that was the whole deal, right? So the way that Adam positioned, Dark Phoenix was in front of Dark Phoenix. So the idea is I mind control the Dark Phoenix, put the alchemical fire onto that one. That Dark Phoenix KOs the other Dark Phoenix. And then I move that Dark Phoenix without having to do a breakaway up 5 squares because she's already out 2. And then Flash or Doom 67 can knock her back to stop. As she doesn't get an imperv roll. I don't care about the imperv roll. All I do is care about hitting her back to stop. And then the next turn she's KO'd. Both Dark Phoenixes are out of play. Then ideally Doom 67 kills Jubilee on that team. And then we're gravy, right? Then I just have to fight a Cables and a Mimic, and I have a pretty good chance of beating that. But the whole mind control thing just falls apart, which it did. Then I'd take a big giant bird up the ass.
True.
So it was fine. I mean, that's the most consistent thing, right? That has beaten Bat Doom is Jubilee and Dark Phoenix. So it comes down to, I don't know if it's viable. We need to really do our set review for Empire, because to be honest, I unboxed a case of it tonight live on Facebook, and I was like, I don't even know what these pieces are right now. I have no clue.
Yeah.
I have no clue. I have not looked at
it definitely
set.
helps going through that.
Yeah, so if I can find something in the new set that kind of tickles the pickle, then maybe we'll do some tweaking. But
I have a
Demon
point.
and armor.
I think I have a point to talk about that, but I think the key thing we need to hear first is really how the Jubilee team works, and I'm pretty sure Kaleb is by far the best person to talk to about it at this moment.
Exactly.
I
So
don't
let's
know.
hear. Yeah, let's hear about that.
Jubilee. Yeah. Well, so I ended up going 9-0. My team, for those who don't know, I played the X-Men theme team. It was a +10. I played Cable with his 2 clones, Kate Pride, Maggot, Professor X, Dark Phoenix, and 3 multiple men, which makes it a +10. And then the reality gem for a second perplex. So the goal is to win map, get my Kate Pog, which gives me the Lockheed with a perplex, and then reality gems a second perplex. The problem with the cables is they both only get 1 free TK. They don't have power TK, so the reality gem allows to have 2 TKs on the team, which I did not realize that until I was playtesting the team. Is like, I got to put the reality gem on a cable clone to get 2 TKs on the team. And then my sideline, I had Exodus, Jubilee, the super rare from House of X that changes to Click 7 on Otherworld Castle. Then a Maggot, number 2, Bishop, Pixie, Diamond Patch, Cypher, Manta, and Gorilla Grodd. Of the 9 games I played, I never brought in Gorilla Grodd. Kind of forgot that he was there. I also never brought in Diamond Patch. Patch was there for, Shape Change Stealth. The guy from Superman,
Null.
Oh.
or from Null, from Null. It was a Null matchup, which I never played against. And then Manta was there, but I never brought in Manta.
Sure.
Just
real quick, is this a team that you build? I've seen like similar ones for a couple months now.
So I got the ideas of Cable and Kate, but I've never. I guess I haven't seen this exact build. A lot of people do swap outs and bring in like Chase A and Prime Mimic.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
And Moira McTaggart. But my goal of the tournament was to go high theme. So the 2 kind of theme teams I was looking at was X-Men and Monster, because you can get to +10, +11 relatively easily. But I knew that the 2 main figures I needed to watch out for were Blackheart and Sky Tyrant. And with this team, Jubilee having Invincible can ignore the Mystic from Blackheart, can deal the penetrating damage, and then Maggots can poison them to kill him. So I had to build a team that I could do both a Jubilee attack and 2 Maggots to do poison if needed. So my typical swap was I took out the main Cable and Kate Pride and a multiple man, and brought in Jubilee and Pixie and my second Maggot.
Okay. So you normally end up with 2 Maggots.
So 2 Maggots, and the cool thing about Pixie is she can phase 10, and then she can drop the Maggots within 3 squares, which can get around barrier because she's not line of fire.
I thought she could only do that for like the Jean Grey school or whatever. Or am I wrong? Just any X-Men?
Right, yeah, any X-Men.
Dang.
And
okay.
there's a keyword she can drop them within 3. So she would just phase up 10, drop them within 3. Then the Maggots, of course, have sidestep, so it had almost a full board reach with just that.
It's just share a keyword. It's just share a keyword, Tyler.
Yeah.
So it's
cool way
Jean
to get
Grey,
around the
Mystical, New Mutants, and X-Men. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, so the opening 2 plays for just against any team, my goal is I carried Jubilee out, converted a Click 7, perplex the defense by 2, and they can either run out and try to punch her with something, or my next turn running shot with her. I free tiki out Pixie. Power action, move both maggots. Then my third action, I carry the maggots. And then fourth action, I run Jubilee out, do a shot, remove barrier. Then the maggot pogs are autonomous. So that's kind of the opening move. So the reason I built the team was I can do that in one turn and kill a Blackheart or snipe a Sky Tyrant with Jubilee.
And I think what now I want to. This is a big one for me that I don't think you mentioned on your turn 1 or turn 0. Is that you position your Jubilee in such a way with the multiple mins that she can't be close attacked that easily.
Yeah, you can body block and put her in a heavy object, so it makes her essentially a 21 defense from range with invincible and shape change. And then you body block with 2 multiple men, and you can't really get to her from close.
And she's protected outwit too, right?
And protected outwit, yeah.
Have you ever, in like testing or games, have you ever had her just die when you move out? You more potency come?
Actually, all of the 9 games, she never died one time.
Okay.
She just stayed alive. I think the most time she got damaged was to click 3, and then I just used the X-Men.
Oh, you mean she didn't die the whole tournament?
Yeah, like the whole tournament, she never died.
Wow.
Now I think Tylor was asking also in testing, because I think I KO'd her round. Yes. I think I KO'd her in a Brad Weekly event round turn 1.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you can get by her shape change and hit her 3 times with a 11 attack, then it does it pretty good.
Yeah. Doom. Okay.
Well, I had a 12. And Waller has a perplex, so I did have a 12.
Okay, calm down, Dan.
Yeah. I would just like to say that I have a team will KO Jubilee, but yeah, I'm with you.
It does it pretty handedly. So, but another cool trick that I do with cable clones is because they're free TK, they can phase out 9 and TK an object back, and then sidestep pick it up, so I can steal objects pretty easily with the cable clones. But so my first 5 games in Swiss, the highest theme I went against was the robots of Aaron Morgan, which I think was a +12. Maybe it was I think it was a 12. And he won map and took me to Doom's Castle. And he tried to. I brought in Exodus and Bishop to decrease his range on his mind control, move up and attack. He was still able to reach across the board, went for Exodus, and his Superman missed Exodus to finish him in 1 turn. And then the next turn I got to reach out Dark Phoenix and mind control with Exodus and killed a lot of the other high theme I went against in the top cut 16 was Paul Cote's Monster, which is a +11. I beat his on map roll and then was able to take out Tyrant, and then he missed 3 times going for a maggot. Brought in a Black Vulcan, poisoned, and then forgot that I could retail after that. So then and killed a whole lot of his backline.
How mentioning that, how does your team fare going second? Do you have a plan for like switch outs or barrier, things that'll stop the like in an alpha?
So the only barrier I have on the team is Cypher on the sideline, with only 4 squares. The only other high point figure I have that brings in is Exodus, and then I have Bishop for the anti-range.
Okay.
Then it comes down to, do I want Cypher for barrier? Do I want Dark Phoenix? But Dark Phoenix is typically a primary target. So of the 2 games I did lose map, the 1 game I took out Dark Phoenix and put in Cypher. The other one I left in Dark Phoenix, and he ended up ignoring Dark Phoenix and going for Exodus, and then that kind of bit him in the butt.
Hard, yeah, she's hard to ignore.
But it was, so one of the games in the top 4, I played that Adam
Masajueski.
Yep.
Masajueski, and doing an X-Men theme as well, +10. He rolled a 10 on the map roll, and I rolled an 11, and so took him to Otherworld Castle. We both had Jubilee, but Dark Phoenix was able to heal to her click 300, like the starting 300 point.
Wow.
And I just could tap Jubilee for 3 and then finished her with a cable clone pretty easily.
Wait, so I think you buried I think you buried the lead there. How in the world did Dark Phoenix heal up to her? What did you do to get her to heal up that much?
That's 9. She healed
So
9.
I retailed and I was able to kill like his cable clones. I had damaged his an Iceman, and there was someone else. I can't remember exactly who I killed my first turn. And then she did a power action shot, and I killed a couple of people.
Wait, so he didn't swap out his Iceman?
No, he kept Iceman in and Dark Phoenix, so he didn't have 2 Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
Huh.
And then
Dang.
kept on doing one shots, and I forgot that even if she tags someone for 3, she's still doing 4 damage and just keeps healing, and she just never died, and he never did any damage to her. So she was up to 12 hypersonic, 12 Pensai, 19 invincible, and 5 outwit.
It's not bad.
I think if that happens, you just go take a nap. Yeah, you're just like
that's what the mercy roll is for. If Dark Phoenix gets to this line, you mercy roll. That should be in the rules.
Yeah. So she was able to tag his Jubilee for 3 click, and then Cable got her up her last click. So
oh wow.
that was kind of the exciting. And then of course in the finals, I don't know if y'all watched, but that was one of those last
I watched
actions.
until it cut out. It cut out for us, right? Did it ever come back?
Yeah, no, I don't think it came. I went to sleep after it cut out.
I was upset. I was watching it. So what happened, please?
So I'll talk about this game because I built the team for Blackheart, and his team had both Blackheart, also it had Jason Wingard, and then he swapped out for Dark Phoenix, and then a guard, and then he had Chip, and he had Felix Faust.
Yep. I think he almost always swaps to that team. That's what it seemed to be.
Well, and it's really effective. So I think that he tried, and he did successfully. I think he baited me to kill his Blackheart. He moved him out and didn't put him next to the mitt for ESD. So I did my opening turn. I went in with Jubilee and sniped him to his stop click, and then brought in my maggots and poisoned him and killed Blackheart. And then
good open.
Well, I thought so. So I'm up 75 points. I'm like, cool. I sidestep, do whatever, and it's your turn. And then he he does first. He mind control chains my entire team with Jason Wingard.
Sure.
Ends up killing both maggots and damaging Pixie. Then he retails with Dark Phoenix.
Wait, he killed both maggots just with a mind control chain?
It was either with the mind control chain or with Dark Phoenix. It was one of the two.
Okay.
Pretty quickly. And then he retailed with Dark Phoenix, and then he triple targeted with Dark Phoenix, and then he had Rookie come in with his last action and took out everything. I think he got up, it was 75 to 160 or something. He took out a whole lot. It was.
See, we cut out right as you killed his Blackheart in turn 1, and we all were just thinking, Caleb, Caleb's got it.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, yeah, Caleb's got it. Blackheart's dead. So
and then in Facebook it came in, Caleb won. So I thought that was just kind of the end of it.
Right, because you dropped. I was like, all right, so it cut out right. Pixie was phased in, dropped the maggots, removed the debris, and I'm like, okay, here comes a poison, 2 attacks from the Pogs, Yeetosaurus, goodbye.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So then my next turn, all I'm left with is Jubilee on top click with 2 cable clones and Professor X. That's it.
Wow.
Everything else is dead.
Wait, Professor X, the swap one?
The swap one, yeah.
Oh, you kept him in. Okay.
Kept him in. So cable clone had the perplex. I had no one with printed prob. I had I don't think I had any theme team probs left, and he had Chip and Felix Faust, who both had printed prob. So my next turn, I come in and I kill Felix Faust and his first rookie. Then his next turn, he creates second rookie, and he goes and kills Professor X and misses Jubilee with shape change, and then misses one of the cable clones. So my next turn, I'm down to just Jubilee, 2 clones, 1 perplex, no probs, and he has full Jason, full Chip, 2 Hellfire guards, and second rookie. And so he's got a 19 defense for at the least with 2 people he can mastermind to. So my only thing I can do is go for Chip, and Chip's rocking a 21 or 20 defense to my 12 attack is the most I have. So I use one turn. I have to clear Jubilee because she's double tokened, and I missed my giant size. He does his thing. He whiffs with Rookie against both clones, which was kind of lucky.
Mm-hmm.
The next turn I go in, 12 attack on his 20. I shoot and I miss. He does the same thing with Rookie, misses both cables, and then this is the last turn of the game is when I perplex my attack to a 12, win against his chip, needing an 8, no probs either way.
Oh, what?
And
Wow.
killed it. So I killed his chip, and then we added up the points. I forgot that Pixie counted for 65 instead of 45 because she swapped out for.
Yeah.
So it put him to 220, but when I killed Chip, it brought me to 225. So I
And
beat
that was
him.
on last action?
It was on. It was 15 seconds left, is what Brad was
Okay.
saying. But
Okay.
I did that, and then I killed that, and then I cleared, and then he went on his turn, and time was called. So
Oh, okay. So we had like 15 seconds on his turn.
right, yeah, there was not hardly any time left in the game.
Oh wow.
Dang.
So
didn't
I
realize it
think
was that
I think
close.
what's so crazy about that is that maybe he should have focused on Jubilee a bit more,
Mm-hmm.
because Jubilee's worth 100 on your team.
100 points. Yeah, it's a whole lot of points into her.
Right.
Dang. Okay.
So it just the rolling an 8 to win a major tournament is a consistent theme of the winners. By the way,
Yeah.
I had to do it with a Groot retail, with no probs either way, and after proceeding to throw the dice 3 times off the table, I finally got it to stick, and I rolled an 8. So an 8's a big deal. So if you can hit that 8, you're in good shape. So.
Yeah.
So, Kaleb, I got to know, are you mentally prepared for the eventual multiple Dr. Thing team that's going to roll out to make sure you can't bring any of your pieces in?
Yep.
Prepared, yes. I know I've opened up sideline spots for for Venom Mags because he is an X-Men somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And the Beast. I think Beast is going to be a good one for an alpha with some stuff. But as far as for a Doctor Thing, no, I haven't.
Yep. Well, you better be
Nobody
prepared.
plans.
Better
Yep.
be prepared. Just kidding. I'm totally playing.
He says he's totally kidding, but Alex is the only one that has done well with Dr. Thing. So,
Well, that's because I played 2 Dooms. I played the other Doom. I think I played Annihilate and Conquer and Dr. Thing.
right, yeah, the perfect combination of the sauce.
That was a completely different meta back then.
Anyway,
Well, before we go any further, I do have to give a shout out to my girlfriend Sarah. So this was a 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. day, and being a diabetic, I have to make sure that my blood sugar stays good, and we don't have a whole lot of time to like take breaks and eat. And she was right there checking my blood sugar, making sure that I was not going too low, and so she made sure that my blood sugar was good throughout the day. So big shout out to her.
As many mimosas as he needed.
And drink mimosas throughout
Is
the
it
day.
weird that I just imagined her giving you little sugar
Whoa.
cubes like a horse?
Whoa! I did not realize she was here too.
Oh, she is listening.
Oh my gosh!
I'm just imagining you in the middle of like a flurry or something, and she comes up and like gives you like, okay, eat this here, and you just munch on it while playing and just going to town.
Oh.
So
That is how I got the 12. Or
So,
that
I don't know how I feel about saying this right now, but because I know she's listening, but that would be what you would call wifey material. Because
Yes.
because as a fellow diabetic, Sam does similar things for me. So she makes sure that we take snacks and have Snickers bars or whatever I need to make it through to the lunchtime break at tournaments.
Well, it's a long day, from 10 to 11. That's 13 hours with a 30-minute lunch break. That's all you really get. So.
yeah, true. Yeah,
But anyway, all that to say, so went 9-0. I won map 7 of the 9 times. The times I did win map, I got lucky on the not losing. The other time I did lose map was against Wes Summers, brought me to Ancient Hold, and this was kind of a fun game where it's he uses the Emma Frost that can mind control through barrier.
Yeah.
So it's almost impossible for me to get to him. And he's also using Harry Leland, so my maggot's kind of useless. And he gets up on points and then kind of sits back and holds up, and I somehow get an Exodus to mind control, and I get mind control his Exodus for 2x2-1. Exodus goes to hit somebody and crit misses after all the probs. So he goes to flip 2. I move breakaway. He takes 4 damage from Exodus, and then he gets poisoned with maggot and dies, which ends up getting me the win. So
Jeez.
it was one of those, just the dice were in favor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really cool team that he has. I did never ever want to play against it, but it's a cool team that he has. Oh, it doesn't let you play the game a lot of the time.
Yeah, it takes away your range, takes away your drop off, and you just have to wait for him to essentially get the first attack. Is kind of how it goes.
Especially if he wins map and goes under.
Yep.
So would you say Jubilee was the MVP on your team?
By far, yeah. Every game I played, anytime I won map, I went to Otherworld Castle, and she was the first person who got it, by far.
So I feel like if there was a Facebook, a year in review type thing, I feel like this time, yeah, Facebook doesn't do that. This time last year, there was House of X, right? It came out in December of last year, or did it come out later? I don't remember.
No, it came out December, I think.
No, it came out January, but we knew all the pieces.
Right.
It just was delayed.
That's correct, yeah.
And so I remember either we said it on the podcast or it was just through talks. Everyone was talking about, oh yeah, Jubilee's pretty cool, but it not being able to guarantee that she turns into a dragon or Shogo, whatever she is, it's just not worth it. She's garbage.
Okay, garbage on that. If she doesn't switch to Click 7, she's completely
useless. Yeah. And I feel like someone at WizKids heard that and was like, you know what? I love Jubilee so much. We got to make this work. And that's how the switch out teams were born. Because I remember, I just remember these talks like, oh yeah, if she hits that, you're on it. And it's like, but because of the +3 maximum on map rolls, that's just not guaranteed. But then we get the switch out, and switch out changes everything. And the meta is so different that we don't really consider the switch out as its own mechanic in the sense of like ID cards, title characters. But I think we got to make sure we do, because it's just such a radical thing now. Yeah, it's so. It makes the meta so different, and that's why. And I wanted to talk about this before Kaleb talked, and I wanted to wait till or after he talked. Was Dane, you were talking about your team, whether it's still viable. Tylor, you were talking about your team, whether it's still viable. And in my opinion, they're both still viable. It's just right now the meta has planned for it, and has been planning for it for months now. But this time last year, or a little bit before this time last year, we were talking about the dreaded triangle where you had, or it may have been before that, where you had, Vulture and Batman beats Vulture, or, and then this beats Batman, but then Vulture beats that.
So the start of the pandemic, when we lost ID cards, it was Vulture, Widow, and
Batman. I think it was Batman.
And probably Batman, yeah.
And we were like, those are the 3 main, like, they just counter each other. And I mentioned this in our group chat that it's now no longer a triangle. It's like a dodecahedron where there's just so many counters to counters. And so, like, Batman has a place because it has to keep certain things in place. And which is signifying a good meta, if you really want to get down to it. When there's multiple teams that can arise, that doesn't just purely take off. Because we all thought going into this tournament that Patrick Frazier's monster team would just be everywhere, because it was pretty oppressive and it's strong. And I mean, he made top cut because he won in that previous the in-person tournament, but he lost his first match in top 16, I believe. But he still made his way there, so not trying to downplay him at all. But we didn't see that, and it's because people were already building for Monster. X-Men has always been this team, I feel like, that's been lingering, and it's been around, and no one's really fully solved it. There were some good ideas, but I don't feel like it cracked some tops, but it wasn't winning yet.
Right.
And I feel like Kaleb is now now we got to really worry about X-Men, and we've got to solve for Jubilee. And so come January, February, not saying the team's going to be bad. It's still a major team. I'm saying like, okay, maybe people are going to focus on units that could do something to Jubilee. Because I wasn't going in planning, I knew Jubilee was existing. I played against it at the Clix Cup, or not the Clixed Off event, sorry, the Clixed Off Classic. And I knew it was a force to be reckoned with, and I was mentally preparing, but I wasn't building around it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so, my plan was like, I had played against Kaleb and I think Paul Cote a few times with it. And, I had a very specific plan depending on if they moved out turn 1 or if they stayed in FTI. And the plan is that I just lose Tyrant, right? Like the Tyrant just goes. And there's almost nothing I can do about it, right? If they roll a 6, maybe even less sometimes, Tyrant dies. Nothing I can do about it.
Well, against your team, it's a 7 because the most that Jubilee can get to is a 13.
Adam can get to a 14. Adam's team got to a 14.
Because he Mimic copies Perplex, yeah.
Yeah, because he had Cypher, the Bird, and Mimic. So.
Oh, you don't have Mimic on your team. I just realized. I kind of was just assuming. I forgot.
Yeah, it's a dragon for like the 3rd time. It's a dragon.
Right, yeah.
It's not a bird.
Lockheed is a dragon.
Lockheed is a dragon.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a bird. Got it. So it's a 6, right? And even in your case, Kaleb, it's an 8.
7 with theme probs.
Well, no, sorry, it was a 7 with
maggots, then 3 theme team probs.
Right. Yeah. And then like in Adam's case, it was a 6 with the 2 probs because Mimic carried up Maggot, and a theme team prob from Jubilee, and maybe even another theme team prob. But it was just a 6 with three probs. I positioned it to where I could get 2 probs on it, but it's almost not worth it because I've got to just save those for later in the game.
Yeah.
So that was my plan, right? Is like lose Tyrant, but if they break FTI, try to kill Jubilee with Doom 67, take the retail away from the rest of my team, and just hope to be able to grind it out with the Flash and Batman. But it didn't work out for me that way. So I had a plan, it just didn't work out. So.
Yeah, but looking at your team, on the day, I guess, what did you like the whole team? Was there any changes you would make? Anything you noticed moving forward, or anything in the new upcoming set that is going to change what's on the team?
So the main force, I think, is pretty. I think it's okay. The plus 10. It's hard to give up a plus 10. I mean, I aided on going a plus 9 and adding a second maggot to the main force and putting Arc Phoenix on sideline, but there were a couple of pieces, like I said, I did not use, which was the Diamond Patch and Manta. I think Diamond Patch can't leave because there are teams that you just have no shape change health. But Manta, I don't think I ever needed Manta. I don't think that Jubilee ever needed to have ignoring stealth and getting 5 damage instead of 4.
Sure.
So that can be a takeoff.
Like on her, if you get the map, is the only time you're playing Jubilee, and once you get that map, it's kind of Dan's team. 80% of it has stealth, but Jubilee doesn't care because she's shooting the 20%, so she doesn't need it too much because she's a giant, can shoot over everything.
Right.
That makes it a little bit less needed.
The barrier and the figures that I focused on were Sky Tyrant and Blackheart. Neither of them have stealth, so she was able to do it without Manta. So, and also Grodd. I know troublemakers are super important, but I just never used them. Like 9 games, I never brought them in one time.
So I think I had a suggestion for you there, Kaleb. Is I would have went with Brainiac instead of Grodd.
Because of the map that I used,
Because of the map that you used.
For elevated. Sure.
Yeah, because it's not going to be that you have the action, because Grodd's the better attacker on average. But with your team, I feel like you're not going to have an action to attack with Grodd. You're only going to be able to use the additional benefit from Brainiac.
Right, the rolling,
because of the rolling. Yeah. So that
and the outwit.
Yeah, and the outwit, obviously. Yeah, that's a good one too. But that was my feeling on your team, was like, man, he probably could have used a Brainiac just for tempo control. But I do like I do like the option of your team where, because Pixie does have Passenger 3, so there's some matchups where if you got 3 maggots in there, you're overkilling with the poison and that kind of thing, right. and the non-Doom matchups, right?
And having to get to use all my autonomous versus not get to use them.
Yeah, but it's almost like you have to fit the Legacy Cyclops in to go with 3 maggots, so that way you can get 5 actions instead of 4.
Is there any matchup that you're kind of not worried about, but you have like or any piece in particular that you're worried about seeing?
Well, of the teams that when I lost map, I mean, losing map, I never went Jubilee, so I lost my super big damage output. It's Exodus. So the question then is, how do I protect Exodus and then allow him to get close enough to use his mind control? With the new set coming out, the Venom Magneto, I can choose to use them on the 100-point line or the 35-point line. So if I needed to, I have another beat.
Oh, I didn't even realize you could do that now.
Yeah, you can decide.
Because of the rule change.
Yep, you can say, I'm going to use this guy at 100 points this game and 35 points the other game.
Yeah, you don't have to specify a point line anymore. Wow,
so
I didn't realize that.
In addition to the sideline. As far as pieces, Doom 67 just limiting me to 3 actions, which takes away the autonomous pogs really.
That's kind of what I was going to ask. With Dooms, do you prefer is Doom 67 worse for you than Lord Doom, even though you have 2 maggots?
Yes. Yep, because I can decide not to use my second maggot, and I can bring in, I don't know, Bishop, or I could bring in Manta at that point. But if I win map and I have him switch and he goes to big capital Doom 67, then I have to decide, do I want to bring in a second maggot that I probably won't get to do anything with, or do I go to something different?
Yeah, true. So your actions would be normal. You said she's already up there, so you TK, move is your 4 actions?
Yep.
Oh, okay, and you couldn't do that. So you'd have to, the most you could do is like leave 1 maggot back, carry the other one up.
Right. But I only get to bring 1 maggot.
So Tylor, you're missing just it's shoot with Jubilee, free TK, move a maggot up, then move Pixie is 3 actions. Sure, yeah. If you get the 4th action, then you get to move the second maggot up to Pixie.
Second maggot, sure.
Yep. Now the other problem is I have to move Jubilee out on my turn 1 to get everyone across the map with 4 actions.
Right.
So if I don't bring her out my first turn, then my turn 2 is I just send out Jubilee and then I use a cable to phase out and free TK her back and hope she survives the clapback.
Yeah, whatever.
Kaleb, in Empire, your best gal might be making a comeback, and she does somewhat hard counter Jubilee. And that's Black Widow, your best gal.
Ooh. Don't get that started, Black Widow.
Yeah, she comes back with Avengers, and she gets switched out.
So, wait, you're going to have to remind me, why does Black Widow hurt?
So, Black Widow can remove a trade craft. It makes it where you can only use display powers, and Jubilee's protected. Well, that and her protected outwit is her movement power. So you basically turn that power off, and then Black Widow has outwit, so she can make Jubilee now outwittable.
No, that's not accurate.
Well, you have to use the shifting focus to take away the team ability.
No,
Does she
Right.
have? She.
So
Wait,
so
what are you guys talking?
no, I don't think you're both kind of wrong. I think. So Black Widow only takes away standard powers that are not on the dial.
Not displayed.
So and
So she, like the running shot inside.
so
Yeah.
she would take away the running shot and the psychic blast. So she would still get +3 range, and she would still get protected outwit.
Oh, I see what you're
So
saying.
is there one of the shifting widows that removes protected outwit, or just team abilities?
It removes team abilities, not protected
All
outwits.
right, then never mind.
So
I thought you knew.
Jubilee would still have protected outwit because it does not come from a team ability.
Right.
Oh well.
Sorry,
But
sorry to ruin that there, but that's very specific, right? Because there's not really a silver bullet necessarily to KO Jubilee.
Right. Now, the cool thing about Black Widow is she can use a tradecraft and make her range still a 5, because then she can't increase her combat values.
Oh, true. That's true.
Right. But the other
then you
thing, I guess the only.
120
Oh, sorry. Go
Widow
ahead.
is with no reducer. Oh, I was just saying, with no reducer, Black Widow is very vulnerable to
Poison.
all the alpha poisons. And
That's
Yeah,
right.
but you be switched out. You just switch her out for those.
True.
Let's switch her out.
that's
Yeah.
true.
That's
true.
a big deal.
That's a thing that we'll talk more when we do Empire, and we probably will do an episode or a live stream like we did with Brotherhood and the Professor X and the Magneto switch outs. Avengers is going to need one also because we're having to call back figures we haven't played in a year and a half. It feels like
Right.
Black Widows, Immortal Hulks, all of those, and they're going to be right back in the game because they were hard countered by losing map to bad matchups.
Right.
If you go against a bad team, they're hard countered. But now they get the same relative same treatment to X-Men and Brotherhood now, or Hellfire Club, that you're going to see a lot of these pieces come back that weren't there before. So
Yeah, I think
Kaleb, Kaleb, you love your X-Men team, but I know you loved those Black Widows for a while. So
Yep, they're gonna hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
So
I think the only other the hard counter to Jubilee, which I think is interesting, would be the Secret Six. But we say that now, and I'm almost tired of saying it at this point because we just haven't seen them anymore. So
They're just really not playable because of the lack of barrier, and then they're kind of reliant on going first, but they're not a +11.
yeah, they
It's
don't.
only +7 is the highest they can get.
Right, yeah.
Right on
The
theme.
monster version can be okay, but then it doesn't help you against Jubilee.
Right.
Not
because
like
you don't have enough
Chase
Secret
Beast
Six.
does. Right, not like Chase Beast gets rid of protected outwit. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, but
New side.
But that's new set stuff. So I do like that. But I think it's interesting that if you remove her protected outwit, you can outwit her movement power,
Which is protected outwit.
which I get that, but it also takes away her protected pulse wave, makes her a normal symbol with foot, but she still has Psyblast and +3 range. It's just an odd combination of what happens to her when that movement power is taken away. I don't know.
Now, something else to consider and depending on the errata for this Venom Rogue, she can become part of what Jubilee is on Click 7.
Right. Yes.
Depending on what they make the errata for, if they do.
Wait, what was that? I'm sorry. Oh, I see what you're saying.
You can copy either the special attack or the special fist power from Jubilee and do part of what she does.
Do you think
If you win
needs
map.
changed?
If you win map, yeah.
Caleb, do you think she needs changed?
I do. Because it's not just copying Jubilee. I mean, there's so many things she can copy as a special power that.
Okay.
I was thinking today, she can, people have already talked about Sky Tyrant, and you can copy a retail even and do a retail with her,
Yep.
or
yeah. It feels like
even
it feels like
you take another.
Yeah, it feels like they missed the word standard. Like,
Yep.
it feels like I know I get what you're saying, Tylor. Like, she works perfectly as designed. Right.
It's
like
more no, it's more than that. It's that I really don't think it breaks her. I've had this conversation with a couple people, and I'll be like, "What do you think breaks her?" And then they'll say something, and I'll be like, "Well, that's good, but I don't think it is broken. I think it's just a really good 75-point piece."
I think the copy and blob is the worst thing.
I don't think that's that bad. Right? It's not that, like, there are other pieces that have historically just taken 1 damage.
So, what are your thoughts on someone copying a stop click on a retail that's protected outwit, protected pulse wave, and she takes 1 click every attack?
Well, you can't do
that
that because the click's not revealed.
Yeah, it doesn't stop every time. You still get the powers, but the power is never revealed, which is where the stop click happens. It's not revealed on her dial, so it doesn't stop, but you still get all the powers and the protected stuff. It's not an effective stop click.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's the bigger argument I hear from people. Like, I was talking to Isaac during our match or before our match about this, and he was under the same impression. Oh, you could copy stop clicks, and she just has a stop click. I think if that were true, absolutely she's crazy. But what I see is a 75-point charge piece that could copy 1 special power, which I understand. She could copy Sky Tyrant, but you could play Sky Tyrant for 25 points less. I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
But what I'm saying is, like, if she had that and she could pick other powers, or she got all of their powers, or she had more than just charge, I'd be more on the fence about it. But right now I'm looking at, okay, she gets Jubilee's movement power or something. Okay. I mean, she doesn't have a lot of things that she can't be killed with.
Sure.
If she had Invincible, maybe I'd be more against, or Power Cosmic.
So
I'd be more against it.
So here's the thing with it for me is she can use it until she chooses again instead of the start of your next turn. That inherently makes it more powerful from a timing perspective, because if she chooses the giant, if she chooses the willpower, if she chooses all these other things, she gets the beginning of turn timing, and then she can use it and then choose another power. So if we're speaking historically, that sort of timing becomes too powerful, because it was something like, say, what Goblin King have, and they, part of that was part of his change, I do believe.
Didn't they do that with Unimine also?
No, Uni stayed the same on his power choosing. He got to choose until he chose again, but he had a very limited set. But Goblin King, that timing was taken away from Goblin King.
There are other things that exploit that, though, like the motion modifier can do the same thing. It comes to mind, right? You can kind of use both in the same turn. But yeah, I don't think she.
But that's a limited. But that's a limited subset, though, Tylor. We're talking about 4 options instead of an entire team worth of power picking.
Yeah, there's only a couple things you're going to copy every game, so it's not like that big of a. But anyway, the best combo I've heard with her is running 2 of her and Mr. Oz, because then they all get that TK power, and so your opponent can't TK. They TK out 6, and you place them back 6. Yeah, so something like that is pretty funny. You can also TK 12. It's pretty cool. But even that, you're investing 200 points in that. 200 points that basically says your opponent can't TK. But then you just have, at that point, you just have 2 charge pieces that are just, they're, okay charge pieces.
Does that bring back the way she's worded? Would that bring... I mean, we're all begging for Pulse Wave to come back in some form or fashion. Because doesn't Pulse Wave just negate that then? Until she chooses her next turn? Because it would end the duration,
right? Yeah, it would,
until she chooses again. Which I know that's not that big of a deal, but I'm looking for any reason for Pulse Wave to become relevant. Because right now it's just not. It's like you have Pulse Wave and you're like, okay, I deal 1. But if it's something where I could just turn off her, if she's a big threat, and I could just be like, all right, you got this cool power, you saved up. I'll have someone come in, Pulse Wave you for 1, and then I'll go to town. But I don't know. I wish they buffed Pulse Wave back. But I could see them doing an errata, like you were talking about, Dan, to Goblin King. I think that would be enough. Because I didn't think about the fact she could choose one and just keep it the whole game until she chose again. Like if they nerfed that to say until your next turn, I think that would be enough because that would still require you to have that figure on the field to keep copying it. As opposed to beginning a game, I copy Sky Tyrant and then I never have to worry about Sky Tyrant being on the board anymore.
I just don't. We haven't even seen her played.
No. Right. So it's all hypothetical, right?
But I think we're also looking at it from the standpoint of WizKids doesn't really do erratas until right when the set comes out, and then they don't really do anything with the set again.
Well, so unless it's too powerful, right? So my perspective, I would say this is that this would be proposed changes at a watch list level, not day 1.
Oh, I think they do it day 1.
No, I don't think so.
It is day 1 today, but
right,
you know what I mean.
It would be next week. So I think if they did a day 1 change, it would just be to standard powers. I'm not advocating that they do that. I want to be clear, Tylor. But I'm saying if they did one, it would be just to standard powers.
And then she's unplayable at that point.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's fine. I mean, Mimic's plenty playable with displayed standard powers,
but he keeps stacking powers.
Yeah.
If they do a change like that, then she's on my sideline for X-Men swap.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, don't like crucify me for saying that. It's just, that's just my thought about what it would be. I don't think she needs one unless she becomes a problem. I think she's a watch list issue, not a day 1 problem.
I think they already have her on her list. If I were WizKids, because we've seen this before. We saw it with Psylocke. Remember, Psylocke had a big issue.
It's completely different.
Not really. It was something with the wording they didn't think about.
No. Psylocke is very specific. I can explain to you in detail how this character beats you turn 1 without any interaction. That was different. This, I'm asking everyone to tell me why it's so broken and needs fixed, and no one really has an answer. Like, you can do Sky Tyrant, but then you're just a better statted Sky Tyrant at 75 points, or you could do Blob, but then you're a slightly better Blob, for 75 points. So I just haven't. No one's explained to me why she's broken yet. They just see that she can copy special powers, and then it's like scared. But I think they've done a really good job balancing special powers over the last 2 years. I don't think anything breaks her.
My only concern is if there's a special power that is really strong but outwittable, and you just give her Galactus and make it now not outwittable.
It could be. I've looked for the power, right? I searched printed damage to see if there was like any low damage things that you have to use printed, and she has a 4 printed damage. The only one is the Proteus, which is great. It's a really good retail because you're attacking everything, 12 for 4. But I don't know if it's broken for 75 points, right? You have Dark Phoenix at 30 points can do something similar. So
I think it's also the switch in. I mean, that's just the other thing is being able to be switched in and out. That just adds a little bit. It's just individually, all her stuff isn't a big deal, but when you start adding it all together, I don't want her to be eroded. Let me make it clear. I like Rogue as a character, and I'm happy we finally have a playable Rogue. Like, we haven't ever had one outside of an one-time ID. Yeah, we've never had a playable Rogue. So having one, like, the kid in me who loved watching Rogue or reading about Rogue makes me excited. And then I don't want her to get nerfed, but at the same time, I think the duration to me is what screams a problem, because that we have a case where that was eroded before with Goblin King picking a power, and Like that makes sense to me. That would be a fix. That just say, okay, yeah, the duration's crazy. Goblin King had that same issue. Let's just take it down a notch. She can still take displayed power. She's still crazy, but that figure essentially has to be on the board because otherwise, the duration's gone. So
we didn't so we didn't get many questions this time, and we kind of veered off from the remainder of our tournament talk. So just from a questions in the thread, Marley Spiff, we talked about map. So let's bring back to Marley's question. Jack Smith, we actually answered your question in this episode, not the set review about Venom Rogue. And then Paul,
we're going to talk about her again for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So Paul's question and this is going to be one for all of us, but we'll let Kaleb go first. Were there any surprise figures or teams? Did anything surprise you, Kaleb?
Probably the figure I had to look up and come up with a plan like on the spot was Sage. The versus Sage that says you can only use Perplex, Outwit, or Prob once per turn, which is pretty big for your 3 printed probs, 3 themes, and 2 perplexes you're on using.
Right.
So my plan was I just run up with the Pixie dropping maggot poison and hopefully they don't hit super senses, and then I get those probs on Jubilee's attack.
Right.
But the teams I played were pretty expected with the monster theme and Hellfire, X-Men team, Blackheart. Like I kind of expected that, but did not expect to see a Sage.
Then for me, I don't think I saw anything unexpected figure-wise. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Tyler?
Well, the Starjammers team was cool. That was a surprise for me. But I really liked Isaac's team. It's always fun for me to see Isaac's build because he doesn't really practice online like anybody else or play online. He doesn't do local events really that much, right? Him and his dad, they just come out for bigger stuff, but every time they do, it's very clearly how he built the team and what was on it for a reason. So like he's the first person really that's done like an unthemed swap out, which is cool. And it's essentially, I told him when I was playing him, it looked like he found the 7 most annoying pieces in Modern and just slapped them on a team because it was a really cool team that just incorporated a lot of stuff, and it was new and refreshing.
Yes, Felix. I didn't play Felix Faust that day, but I did play Felix Faust that Friday before, and
he's annoying.
He's so annoying.
Super annoying.
He very well can be.
Yeah, I said it before. I'll say it again. The only reason the Molecule Man is better than Felix Faust is because he has better keywords. If they had the same keywords, Felix would be on as many teams. I feel like he's so good.
Yeah, I like Felix Faust. He's very much annoying. Very much annoying. Alex?
For me, so the benefit of losing is you face different teams. So Kaleb, you were up at the top, so you are always facing
the staples.
The staples, right? So you don't see the guys in the trenches.
You don't see us down here with us.
You don't see us with the speed weasels. I mean, going against Joe, I think I said it was Joe. The mystical team was Speed Weasel. I wasn't really expecting it. It was Blackheart mostly, but Speed Weasel just zip it in there and then just zipping away was kind of annoying. And having Mystics was kind of annoying. Now, luckily, I kind of erased her or him with Gladiator almost. But because I didn't have Power Gem. If I had Power Gem, I would have erased Speed Weasel. But just the fact they could charge and then charge again and all that stuff. Charge, destroy action. Now, the unfortunate part with him was that he didn't understand that or didn't realize, once per turn when Speed Weasel is given a close destroy action, after resolution, she can use charge as free. Well, you can't close destroy. Like you can't charge, close destroy, and then do a free after resolutions charge, close destroy, because you're activating the same free action twice. So he was using that to get through my barrier with Molecule Man, but because Speed Weasel has charge printed, so in the special power, so he was trying to charge, destroy, then charge, destroy, but you're technically charging using the same action twice. So that kind of saved me a little bit, but that was definitely one of the pieces I was not expecting. I was happy to see Herbert, but he did exactly what I thought he would do. Absolutely nothing besides prob and carry up Blackheart. That was literally his job. Use Underworld team ability and phase up and just sit there in your face and be annoying. Yeah. And then you just ignore him the entire time. So, yeah, that was it.
Is that the Herbert takes 1 damage?
Yeah.
The chase.
Yeah.
50 points. He has Mystics. You have no reason ever to go against Herbert and just like attack him at all. And he has no reason to actually damage you. There's nothing he can really do. So,
Smoke Club, baby.
So there was how many teams by the time you added in the 4?
40.
40.
So 40 total.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at some. So Alex has a spreadsheet in which needs a little bit more. I want to talk a little bit about some of the math on the popular characters. 12 out of 40, so 25% had Blackheart or access to Blackheart. And there might be some other ones to talk about, but Sky Tyrant was on, because he has to be main forced, he was on 13 of the 40 teams.
Wow.
And then, so I want to talk about the Lady of the Day, the Go Little Rockstar. Jubilee was only on 4 of the 40 teams, which, if my math is right, that still is 10% of the teams were Jubilee, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 10% of the teams were Jubilee. One won, one got top 4, and the other 2 missed cut.
Yep. And on the contrary, there were 8 Doom the Annihilating Conquerors.
Okay. That's a lot, almost 25%.
Yeah,
I mean, two of them, 3 people played, well, Dan included, played Daniel's build, essentially, or a slight variant of it, because I think Kenny played a slight variant of your team.
I was looking there, so there was 8 Doom the Annihilating Conquerors, which would probably mean 8 Latvarias, and 4 of them were Bat Doom. And then, so Kenny, I'm looking here.
Kenny's was really close. He didn't go.
He went
Sky Tyrant.
He did. He went Power and Reality instead of Alchemical Fire and Waldo.
It's also worth noting that there were 5 unthemed teams in the 40 teams, so like 12% or something, and 4 of the 5 made top 8.
Yeah, so I mean, it just goes back to those teams had to build into losing.
Now,
it seems like you can do that successfully, right?
Yeah, and I don't think we ever said that you can't. You just have to be able to do it that way.
I'm pretty sure we've said it can't. We've been talking about high theme.
Dan, after you played Unthemed, you're like, I don't really think you can play Unthemed.
No. I said it was very hard for me to do it, and I would not willingly choose to do it again. Although, after this event, I'm now looking at an Unthemed team again. So,
now I will say this, and we're going to do a live stream or something talking, because I finished the database today. I got to make some touches, clean up the data and whatnot, but I have all the builds, all the map wins, where, Brad was cool and made everybody note who won map every round, every match. So we have that data. Out of the 40 people, only 5 people were at a 10 or 11. No one was above 11 as far as map bonus goes.
Yep.
Aaron, you mentioned Aaron Morgan. He was actually only an 8 per his build sheet, Kaleb. Yeah.
Well,
yes. Well, unless the build sheet was wrong. Some of these build sheets I got were kind of wonky. They were only HC Realms pictures. So I think I counted right, but I may have counted wrong. We'll have to see. But only 5.
He had a 100 point Bastion. So it makes sense.
Bastion. Yeah. And Latvarian Engineer doesn't count because it's a POG.
Right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5 were 10 and above, and then you had 4 that was no theme at all. So I haven't done the averages. I would say average build was probably 7. Looking at the numbers, because there's some 5s and 4s out there. But even then, if you look at the numbers generally, like Adam, he was a 10. He won in the total tournament 7 out of 8 times he won map. The next person, George, George was an exception. He came in late into the tournament. He only tried to roll twice, only 2 games, and he won both times. Kaleb, we know you were 7 out of 9, which is incredibly good odds. But you were also a 10 theme. So, I mean, this is why we wanted this data to see, okay, how imperative, or at least how likely are you to win map? The only other person, Patrick Frazier came in, but he only had 1 game. So the only other one was Paul Cote. And by all metrics, you would assume Paul would have done well, but he only hit 3 out of 6. So he only was 50%, which is still good if you think about it. Building a team, and if your bad luck was half of the time winning map, I mean, that's still pretty good in today's cap of 3. The one thing I still need to put in here is, per each match, what theme did he go against? Did he consistently have +3? Because if Paul went against some of these other players with high theme, which I have out here, I mean, he went against John Hafford first game. He went against Matt Donham second game. Those aren't high themes. Austin Murray wasn't a high theme. Isaac was no theme. And Isaac actually won map against Paul on a no theme.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's what I mean by bad luck. And then Jackson Smith. So he didn't go against high themes in any of his matches except Kaleb. Kaleb, you were the first match he went against that had a definitive equal footing, I would say. So yeah, I would consider that a pretty, what was the number if you were +3? It's 55%?
85%.
85% that you're going to win. So sounds like bad luck on his part, but this is the data we were looking for, or I've been looking for as a data analyst enthusiast. That to see, okay, this is a small sample, but it's a big enough to say, okay, what conclusions can we come from that? And I can't wait to do a bigger deep dive to see what was luck, what was not luck. Because we also have to look, we were talking in our group chat, we also have to look at teams that thrive or really, really need to win map. Like, I would consider Tylor's team one that Tylor could probably handle not winning map, but the team itself wants to win map.
Yeah.
Like, it's built to win map. And if you don't win map, in anyone's hands but Tylor's would probably lose.
Right.
So,
all right. Well, let's wrap it up for tonight. Unless y'all got anything else you want to bring up.
Nope.
All right. So I have one last thing, Kaleb. We typically, when we have folks on, you've been around for a while, so you're a little bit of an exception to some of our standard, kind of interview stuff, right? We typically ask, like, what's your favorite figure? How long have you been playing the game? But one thing you can't avoid is I have been texting with Mr. Chomps during the episode. Yeah, and so he wants to know, would you rather wrestle Mr. Chomps, the nasty-ass wrestling alligator, to the death, that's always to the death, or would you rather be forced to play Black Widow and Jubilee on the same team for the entirety of the remainder of your Heroclix career?
Oh man, including post-retirement same figures.
Yeah, you have an exception. You only get to play Black Widow and Jubilee together. Now you get 150 points of whatever else you want, but you always have to play those two together.
Do they share
So
keywords?
They don't. They don't.
I'm going to answer this in an embarrassing way. I have an irrational fear of swimming in murky water, knowing that there are either sharks or alligators in the water. You can't see them, or they're there.
Yeah.
That's good.
So,
Yeah, that's a good because you do have to wrestle Mr. Chomps in Mr. Chomp Swamp. So
therefore, I would never choose to wrestle an alligator in a swamp.
Oof.
that's fair. All right.
All right.
Black Widow and Jubilee it is. So
Black Jubilee till death.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he could just play non-theme Professor X and just immediately switch out Jubilee, knowing he's never going to win map.
but you know what? Professor X retires. In this case, Jubilee does not.
Does not.
That's true.
Yeah. So
And,
You don't have to do it for the rest of your life, just for the rest of Mr. Jump's life. How long do alligators live?
you know, Tyler, that's something we haven't established yet because Mr. Chomps was here before we were.
True.
So it is possible that Mr. Chomps is an immortal nasty-ass wrestling alligator. We don't know that for sure, though.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of like the snail that comes after you, but you live forever otherwise.
We could just leave it at that and confuse a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, if you don't know, just Google the snail that follows you forever that you can't kill. But again, thanks for being on, Kaleb. We'll let you go first with final thoughts for the episode.
final thoughts. I still think high theme's good. Granted, it's only a +3, but that +3 matters. Yeah, that's it. Keep your theme up. Either keep your theme up or bank on not being a theme.
Yep. Alex?
I love data, and I don't mean from Star Trek. I mean, like, I'm super thrilled to go through all this stuff. So,
yep. Tyler?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate Kaleb again. It was a really great run, 9-0. He played some really good players, right? Obviously, Isaac at the finals and others. And I really liked the team. I thought it was really cool, really well suited to the meta that we were playing, and had maggots on it, so I like it.
Yep. Final thoughts for me. Good luck with all of everybody pulling Empire. Hope you get some good pulls. I've got a couple more cases to open myself, and thanks everybody for listening to Clixed Off today, and we'll talk to y'all next time. Congrats, Kaleb.
See ya.
Thank you. Bye.